Seth Rollins is not carrying this Money in the Bank briefcase anymore. He's got a whole new kick-ass design. It's black, it's gold. Paul Heyman holds it up in the air as the Oracle. It's badass. Let's talk about it more here on this edition of O'Hara and Friends Wrestling Edition. So Seth freaking Rollins tried to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase on John Cena and CM Punk in Saudi Arabia in the Kingdom of Riyadh at Night of Champions. He then confronted the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther tonight on Monday Night Raw. What gives? Who's Seth Rollins planning on cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase against? Is he going after the WWE Undisputed title, or is he going after the World Heavyweight Championship? Because you can make a case for either title, man. You could make the case for him cashing in and spoiling John Cena's pursuit of ruining professional wrestling and the WWE Championship, or you could go after the title that you helped build up and bring credibility to in the brand new World Heavyweight Championship that's on Monday Night Raw, the brand that you're on Netflix. Gunther, as World Heavyweight Champion, I love him. He's a great champion. He's a dominant champion. He's a dominant heel. Some say he's too boring. I say nah. Gunther is a world-class professional wrestler, and that's all you need him to be. But you also need to bring more credibility to a title that doesn't have much history. Seth Rollins was champion, Drew McIntyre was champion, Damian Priest was champion, Gunther was champion, Jey Uso was champion. That's about it. Gunther is the only two-time World Heavyweight Champion under this tutelage of the World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, it's paying homage to the WCW title, the Ric Flair title, the Dusty Rhodes title, Big Gold, as they used to call it. But this is a brand new championship with brand new history. It's only had 5 champions. Gunther holding it twice. Gunther is going into Saturday night's main event against Goldberg in Goldberg's retirement match at Saturday night's main event. And we don't really have much expectations going into that one, other than the fact that it is going to be Bill Goldberg's retirement match in his hometown. We're going to see a lot of spears. We're going to see a jackhammer. We're going to see a lot of chops from Gunther. It's either going to be a 20-minute long-winded professional wrestling match set at the pace of Gunther, or it's going to be a 5-minute finisher fest if it's any indication of what Goldberg's matches have been in his entire career. Does Goldberg have a chance to win the World Heavyweight Championship in his retirement match? He absolutely does, considering that there is a loophole for the WWE to go in the form of this Money in the Bank briefcase for Seth freaking Rollins. You could have Goldberg beat Gunther in his final match, his final retirement match, and in front of his hometown crowd, in front of his wife, in front of his son, and then you have him hold up the World Heavyweight Championship in a way that brings prestige to the World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, Seth Rollins is a future Hall of Famer. I would argue that Drew McIntyre is a future Hall of Famer. Damian Priest, I don't think he's there yet, but he's well on his way. Gunther, Jey Uso, with what they've been able to do, carrying the company as faces and heels over the past 3 years. Having an actual WWE Hall of Famer and a legend in the pro wrestling business hold that championship, even if it's 4 or 5 minutes with fireworks going off in the background, like that's an image that would stand the test of time. You could have Goldberg beat Gunther in his final match, in his final retirement match in Atlanta, Georgia at Saturday night's main event, only for Braun Breaker to spear the hell out of Goldberg. Goldberg has one of the most devastating spears of all time, but Braun Breaker might have him beat. The future spear versus the past spear, and then that leads to Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank and winning back his World Heavyweight Championship in Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, Georgia. It would be the perfect way to send Bill Goldberg off. He gets his moment in the sun, holds up a title one more time, only to pass the baton to the present and the future of this company, with Seth Rollins cashing in the Money in the Bank contract and winning the World Heavyweight Championship. You could go that route. To me, I still would love to see Seth Rollins hold on to the Money in the Bank briefcase for a while now. And if there's any indication of Seth Rollins holding on to the Money in the Bank briefcase for a lot longer than we actually expected, it's the fact that he got a custom briefcase. The last time we saw a custom briefcase was when Damian Priest was Senior Money in the Bank, and it put Senior Money in the Bank on the briefcase. It was a purple briefcase because he was still in the Judgment Day at the time. Their color has mainly been black and purple, and he was the Money in the Bank contract holder all the way up till WrestleMania. So you gave him that briefcase for, I want to say, about 9 months before he cashed in his briefcase, the same way Seth Rollins did the first time around. Obviously, 10 years ago when Seth Rollins held the Money in the Bank contract, they didn't have custom briefcases because Vince McMahon wasn't that cool. And they did not have custom Money in the Bank briefcases at that period in time. I think Edge had a rated R briefcase. That was the only time. That was in an era where he was kind of doing everything. He had a rated R WWE Championship. He had a rated R Money in the Bank briefcase. But since then, there have been no custom briefcases. Drew McIntyre didn't have the time to have one last year because he cashed in about an hour after he won it at the Money in the Bank PLE against Seth Rollins and Damian Priest before CM Punk screwed him over. But this time around, with Seth Rollins getting his own custom briefcase, Tiffany Stratton got it last year as well on the women's side. Seth Rollins having a badass custom briefcase, and probably the best custom briefcase that the WWE's ever had, and also the fact that the WWE is selling this custom Seth Rollins Money in the Bank contract on WWEshop.com right now, which you can get for only $199. It tells me that Seth Rollins is probably going to hold on to the briefcase for a while. And WWE Creative is as smart as they have ever been, having Seth Rollins tease the idea. He's going to tease the idea of cashing in on the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw, and he's going to tease the idea of cashing in the Money in the Bank contract over on SmackDown for the WWE Championship as well. He teased cashing in against John Cena at Night of Champions. He teased cashing in tonight against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's got a lot on his plate. CM Punk's coming after him. LA Knight's coming after him, specifically at Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, Georgia on July 12th. SummerSlam is also right around the corner. You're probably going to see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in a main event match at SummerSlam. It's a 2-night event. We could see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins maybe in a way that they can conclude their feud that has been going on ever since CM Punk came back to the WWE. Remember, a year ago at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins was the special guest referee in a CM Punk and Drew McIntyre feud that paid off at Bad Blood that year in a Hell in a Cell match. Maybe we see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins one final time inside Hell in a Cell to conclude their feud. And then you could eventually go on to tell the longer-term story with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. But one way or another, Seth Rollins is going to have to cash in the Money in the Bank contract. Is it going to be against the World Heavyweight Champion, or is it going to be against the WWE Champion? My gut still tells me that they have probably the next 6 months to tease him cashing in against the world champion, maybe a couple of false cash-ins on Gunther or on Goldberg or on, whoever else is the World Heavyweight Champion. Or you go the route of him cashing in against the WWE Champion on John Cena's final night, whether John Cena threatens to walk out with the title and wins his final match and threatens to walk out with the championship in Boston, or if, say, Cody Rhodes wins the championship in John Cena's final night and saves the WWE from losing the WWE Championship, only for Seth Rollins to finally cash in his briefcase, and that sets up Rhodes versus Rollins for WrestleMania season. You could also go the route of cashing in on a world champion down the line on Monday Night Raw and having Seth Rollins really legitimize that title by having him defend it in the main event of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, because I really do think that's the route that the WWE is playing long-term here, is that we're going to see Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns for a world title in the main event of either Night 1 or Night 2 of WrestleMania. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns is a Night 2 main event all the way, but it depends what the WWE is telling in that period of time. Will Cody Rhodes be a face or a heel at that point in time? Will he be the WWE Champion? Maybe we see Rollins versus Reigns for one title, and we see CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes for another title. Given that Cody Rhodes is after John Cena, I'd assume that Cody Rhodes will be the WWE Champion heading into WrestleMania to face CM Punk, with Seth Rollins maybe holding the World Heavyweight Championship to face Roman Reigns. I mean, who's to say who's going to main event Night 1 and Night 2 if you go that route? I mean, those are your 4 main event superstars, your 4 needle movers right now, with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. You could tell so many stories. We have no idea where the WWE creatives, what their route is going into SummerSlam. We're seeing Seth Rollins versus LA Knight at Saturday night's main event. I'm going to assume, unless Roman Reigns returns here in the next couple weeks, that we're going to see Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in a match that should conclude their rivalry, at least put it on hold for the foreseeable future. I mean, they've been telling this story for well over a year now. We had CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in the main event of Raw on Netflix on January 6th. We saw them all intertwine in the Royal Rumble match. We saw them all screw each other over in the Elimination Chamber match. We saw CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns in the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania in Las Vegas. We have seen CM Punk and Sami Zayn take on Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. We have seen a lot of CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. This way they can finally conclude their rivalry, at least for the time being, so that they can go on separate paths. You do CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I think you do it inside Hell in a Cell. This is a bloodbath rivalry that deserves to end inside Hell in a Cell. CM Punk's in his late 40s. He already had one Hell in a Cell match last year against Drew McIntyre that almost ended his career. Does he go back inside Hell in a Cell? He's a hated man, ladies and gentlemen. CM Punk could face Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell, or maybe they do a 3 stages of Hell match, or an Iron Man match, or just a good old-fashioned MetLife Stadium, New Jersey street fight in the main event of SummerSlam. You can go either way. I think we're seeing John Cena versus Cody Rhodes in the main event for the WWE Championship in one of the nights, and then I think we're getting CM Punk versus Seth Rollins the other night, pending a Roman Reigns return. But it's going to be interesting to see who Seth Rollins cashes in the Money in the Bank contract on, because this is a story that the WWE could tell for the next 9 months heading into WrestleMania season if they wanted to, because Seth Rollins could really cash in whenever he wants to, and he could cash in on either champion. I really don't know who he's going to cash in on. He could cash in on the World Champion. He can cash in on the WWE Champion. Preferably, I'd like to see him become the Undisputed WWE Champion. We've already seen him as World Heavyweight Champion. He's already elevated that title the best that he could. I think him as WWE Undisputed Champion elevates Seth Rollins to a level that he hasn't been yet in his WWE career. But needless to say, him winning the world title again would elevate the title immediately and elevate the world title scene on Monday Night Raw, when the WWE title scene already speaks for itself, whoever holds that title, because of what Roman Reigns was able to do with it and what Cody Rhodes was able to do with it, and what John Cena is currently doing with it. But either way, leave a comment down below, guys. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Jack O'Hara TV. This was another edition of O'Hara and Friends Wrestling Edition. Who do you guys think Seth Rollins is going to cash in this Money in the Bank contract on?